I had a different topic planned, but I'm sitting in here in my office working and jamming to some tunes, and I thought of a few funny things related to like music, pop culture, movies, things like that. When you're growing up in a high control religion or cult that tells you that music's a sin or movies a sin, stuff like that, and you know, I've liked music since I was a little kid. I remember being like real young, recording off the top 40 off the radio, making mixtapes. When I got into my early teens, I discovered like heavy metal, fell in love with that, loved heavy metal. Discovered punk and enjoyed like that even more. Throughout my life, I've always been like a pop culture junkie, movie junkie. Really like sci-fi. All these things that you're not supposed to like as a comic book collector. Even now to this day, I still collect toys. I love toys. I got my Predator toys here. We got horror stuff. I like horror toys. The comic book stuff. I especially like to collect vintage or not vintage, but just records that are like limited edition records and stuff like that. I get these things in constantly. I like to buy any limited edition. And I like to put some on the wall. Some are just in my record collection. Some will open. Some never open. Stuff like that. But it just makes me think that these people can condition you to believe that these things are a sin, and then once you become a little more well read and you realize that these preachers that are conditioning you to believe this aren't well read and they don't really know a lot, and then once you become a little more well read and you realize that, you feel a little embarrassed or foolish. It's like I was conditioned to like try to reject or get away from things that I like, and like I said, especially like music. Music is my thing. I like to wear band T-shirts. That's what I've always loved, band T-shirts. But then in a community where you got a lot of church people in that, very rarely would I wear one that I had at home or something like that. But even now, like I got my military gun shirt on, stuff like that. It's like that's my thing. But you got to repress that. And I remember in high school back in the day too, I had one or two band shirts. I'd wear them once in a while, but you still feel a little bit sheepish because it's kids from church there and stuff like that. And I remember, I always like to crank the tunes loud, especially metal and punk, really loud. But then you pull up somewhere and you see somebody from church and you turn the radio down, and then when they're gone, you crank it back up. Sneaking into movie theaters, love movies, love to go to all the movies, all different genres. It's funny because you sneak in there, and every once in a while you see somebody from church, and there a lot of times a guy, married guy that was by himself, slumped down in a seat with a cap on, watching movies and stuff. So it's just sad how you repress stuff because of what some old crusty dudes tell you to repress.